I'm gonna try and clip him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why not?
Good, yourself.
Good. We're Global News.
How you doing?
Give me your name and where you're from.
My name is John Bushy. I'm from Whitecourt, Alberta, originally born in Ontario.
Do me a favor, spell your last name.
B-U-S-H-E-Y.
Tell me the message you guys are trying to send today, loud and clear.
We want Trudeau to give Canada back to the people. We don't want immigration just loose goose, man. We want our pipelines back. We want our people in Canada looked after.
Are you worried that the two messages are being a little too mixed, immigration and pipelines? Because this started as pipelines, did it not?
It is mixed, man. Pipeline is our economy, and our economy is being spent on immigration, being spent on other countries. Our money needs to be spent here in Canada to look after the people here in Canada. We need to look after our homeless and our veterans and our seniors. Those are first, and the money's going to come from the pipe.
What do you say to people who claim that this movement has taken on a bit of a far right-wing movement and they call it xenophobic or racist?
I think they're just haters, man. They don't realize the true meaning of what we're doing here. We're trying to make Canada better for Canadians.
Right, but does that mean excluding others?
No, definitely not, man. Immigrants want to come to Canada, come here, man. That's what founded this country. But do it the right way. Don't just walk across our border and beg us for our money to support you.
Yeah. So you think it's unfair the way some people are characterizing it as xenophobic or racist?
Most definitely.
You don't consider yourself any of those, I guess,
I don't consider myself a racist at all, man. I'm a patriot. I'm Canadian. I was born Canadian, and I will stand up for Canada until I die.
And a long way for you to come.
You betcha, man. Just over 4,000 kilometers, and it was worth every mile.
Tell me why was it worth every mile?
Because we're here, we're making our voice heard. We're getting out to the country, man. We started out in Red Deer, Alberta with 50 trucks. We're here in Ottawa with 50 trucks. And along the way, the support was amazing, man. People standing on the sides of the highways in the cold at night, cheering us on. The farther we got, the more people there were, man. It couldn't get any better. The support is here. Everybody knows what we're doing.
And you hope that it translates into something.
We certainly do, man. That's why we're here. We're here to get our voice heard.
Appreciate you taking the time.
No problem, man.
Getting home. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
eh? Have a good one. Mike, the yellow vest on his thing.
You hear it out there? Power to the people.
I didn't know. I thought you had decided, okay, screw this for now because they
We
were
want to
out.
make
Can't even see it.
Okay, so
I know, Angela.
You know, we come from immigrants.
Listen, I didn't even know, but I keep feeling I'm disconnected.
We come from pilgrims, pioneers, and settlers. People that came to this country with maybe a cow, a goat, a wife, to make a life for themselves. They built this country from the ground. They were the born farmers and the Americans that built this nation. We have a right. We have a right. These are inalienable rights. God-given rights, not government-given rights.
Just wait, sir.
Government doesn't give us free speech. Government doesn't give us our rights.
Watch out, please. Watch out for the bus.
God gives us our rights, our inalienable rights. And we cannot forget the faith of our forefathers who came with nothing but passion and determination in their hearts. And this is the ground we stand on today. This is the foundation of Canada. And furthermore, Protestantism, 2017 was the 500th year of democracy being birthed in Europe. That is our history. We are not a nation of slaves. We are free people who came to this country to establish democracy and free speech. And the New World Order is the Old World Order, and it was an order of a caste system with slavery. We are not your cattle. We are not your sheep. You are our public servants. And if you refuse to be, then we will take a de jure persona. And that means we will take our rightful claim to freedom. And furthermore, this has got shit all to do with racism. I'll tell you something. Racism is an actual acronym, and it means rational adult condemning idiotic socialist cruelty. That's what it is. My God is not racist. And how dare you claim such a thing and try and slander the movement? We are people standing for everyone's rights. Yellow, red, black, and white. We are precious, and so are our rights. Stand on guard for thee. Stand on guard with me. Stand on guard for democracy. Stand on guard for the true north. Strong and gloriously free. He who the sun sets free. He who the sun sets free is free. Thank you very much.
Everyone, we requested to move off of the road into the fenced-off corral.
Let's go. We're getting cattle in, people. Cattle away.
Mike, we got somebody here. You want him facing the other way?
See the guy with the green
Stand right there. Give me your name if you don't mind.
Jerry Fetting.
How do you spell your last name?
Fetting.
You were saying to me before that lady doesn't speak for this movement. Why not?
This movement is about building Canada, building pipelines. They're pushing the bill C-48 and C-69. They're shutting Canada down. Canada was built with natural resources, and that's what this is about. Trudeau is trying to shut that down, and it's nonsense. Canada was built on minerals, which is oil and gas. We've got to pursue that.
But you were saying to me before, that lady though, speaking about racism.
I talked to her earlier. She's talking about racism and class systems and all that. I don't know if that's what she told you guys, but that's not what this is about. This is about Canadians. Everybody that comes here is a Canadian. My heritage is German. My wife's is Ukrainian. We're all immigrants here. There's nothing racist about this. This is about building pipelines and getting Canada going again.
How much do you worry though that those people are in your group claiming to be part of your group now?
No, there's numerous groups. Just because I have a yellow vest on does not mean that we're all radicals. We're all good people. I'm a business owner back home in Stony Plain. We've gone from 14 people down to 6 people. Those 8 people, those 8 families are now unemployed. They're waiting for me to get busy again, and it won't get busy. I'm in the housing market. It won't get busy till pipelines start getting built and people get back to work. Yeah. That's what this is about.
How much are you concerned though that those loud people, as you call them,
I'm really concerned. We're all Canadians. We've just got to get Canada working again. Everybody down east or down out west, we just want to work. We don't want any handouts. We don't want anything from the government. Just stay out of our way and let us go back to work.
And remind me where you're from again, sir?
Stony Plain, Alberta.
You made a long way.
We made it a long way for this. We were not going to miss this.
Yeah.
To help stop these radicals from changing the focus of what this is about.
How worried are you that it's too late, that it's already the focus has already changed?
I think with the new governments, I think it will. I think it can change. It can change. Alberta, there's people just waiting to go back to work. Yeah. There's companies waiting to start throwing money back into the oil patch. But with Bill C-69 and 48 out at the coast, we can't go back to work because we're landlocked.
But are you worried that the message is already too mixed in with some of this?
Oh, there is trouble with it. There is, but people just got to think what they got to think. You know, it's we're good people. We're not racist. We're Canadians. We're all Canadians.
Yeah, and so your point is that you're not concerned about the borders as some of these other people are.
Oh, God, no, not at all. Like I say, I'm German background. My wife is Ukrainian background. We're all immigrants at some point. Unless you're a Native American, we're all in here for one.
Stand right there, just quickly. Just get a quick photo, if you don't mind. Have too many of those people raised their voices, though?
I don't think so. I sure hope not.
No, I mean the people who are mixing the message with the pipeline message. Are you worried that those people are?
That's why we're here.
Just a B-roll. Okay, that's good. That's good.
We don't think so. Everybody up into this fenced area, into the penned-in area.
So, we're going to take your journal for when the speech is
You are a woman. Made it. Can you tell me if you have a French spokesperson?
a lot of extreme, you know, we thought they'd be on the steering wheel. The anti-guys today, you guys see here. I don't know. We all thought they'd be on the steering wheel.
And that's what we're trying to do, respect our laws, protest peacefully, do what we're supposed to because we need to.
Où et combien de personnes on a aujourd'hui? Combien environ? Ça s'en vient, ça commence à rentrer. Pas mal juste avec plusieurs dizaines ou plusieurs centaines.
It looks like something's happening.
I was speaking to the microphone. They need to send more back for them to get as we're going live here.
I just don't know. Maybe we can
Okay.
Why do it all over?
Let me call Brian and tell him maybe if he can send somebody up to get the card, and then they can just go with it. You have another card in there? Okay.
I'm just gonna stand over here.
You here with the demo?
Pardon?
You here with the demo? Kind of.
These guys.
Never mind.
Is it easier if we put these on display?
Not just to show how deep citizens are. We are a loving and that's what we're doing, trying to make this world positive. That's your right. We're looking at right. We bought our permit, we did everything.
Mind you, then we'd be complaining about the heat, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh, there are speakers there.
huh?
Yeah, there are speakers there. But I don't know why they're facing this
You
way.
guys tried walking on this snow here? It's a bitch.
Hey, it's Mike. So Steve's here. He's going to set up. We're going to hand him off to DeGero. But at one point, the cord to the DeGero completely came out. So we were trying to feed as much as we could, but then it popped out. Is there any chance somebody could meet us up here? We'll hand them the card, and then everything can just be fed. We can, yeah, we can wait at the flame. Okay, don't worry. We're relatively okay here. The problem is the speeches are supposed to start at 11, so any kind of, like I know the original rant was killed because they came up. Hey, Chris, because they arrived and I had done the "they're not here yet" part. So I don't like. We're right now in the middle of waiting for the speeches to go on. So it's kind of like if I do another rant, it's gonna die. It's gonna be done again in like. Okay, so let me bang one off before we hand off to DeGero then. Okay, bye. Bye.
Can you guys supply us snowshoes over here, please?
You want me to call them? You will. Okay. Hey, no hat? What's wrong with you? I'm not trying to be like your mom, but for fuck's sake. Yeah, sure you do.
This is like
Hello, it's Mike. Listen, Mike's gonna fire off a rant.
We were sure Brian
By-
Boston.
Yeah, and then
Oh, right.
that for people or whatever, because I guess the last one is like gone now.
Ottawa, we're still being mistreated. Treated like a bunch of
Should have just waited for it. But anyway, and you're still rolling on me now. Perfect. Well, that's okay. I wasn't showing you anything, so that was all right.
And so it's really a mixed message. Yeah. They're all here aiming to speak with one voice, but they're not.
Here's how they really see the question. The question here you have. Which one is less quality?
Right there.
Cool. Which one's more good? That?
Right down there. You're gonna kind of go down.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay,
So we've got a bunch of things already in here, clips. Cool. That you can definitely use for quotes. When do you want? How do you want to do this?
well, the sun's going this way, but yeah, the sun's going back.
I mean, if you want, we can kind of do the similar before to show that the trucks are there,
Yeah, why don't we do that?
and then shoot back towards Parliament Hill. There's still enough people milling. Yeah.
I'm just gonna hang with you guys for now. I'll probably get a lot with what I need to for the speeches as well.
Yeah. Glenn Perry's supposed to speak.
Mostly, I guess the local, the real local focus is traffic impact. But
Yeah.
Talk to me and that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Let's go.
All right. Where do you want to go?
You can use the scrap to support Canadians or whatever.
Yeah, let's do that. And we'll do the, and we'll do same thing. Same
Yeah,
thing as
we'll
before?
walk in a bit. There's more, so maybe go a bit further in.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright,
Now,
I'm gonna
what I'm gonna try and do, Mike, is make sure that
Which
so
logo?
this. So I'll stay on this side. Go behind him, Chris, because I'm gonna walk up that way.
Give me a voice check.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Anytime.
There we go. In 3, 2, 1. What's that?
Walk this way to rec because I'll show all of this.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So Chris, we're gonna be turning. We're gonna be turning.
Just keep an eye on me.
Okay, roll it.
3, 2, 1. Well, the convoy has arrived here on Wellington Street facing Parliament Hill. You can see a variety of messages here, most of them all united in the fact that they want the carbon tax scrapped and getting pipelines built. Right there, you see one sign there against Bill C-69 and C-48 that they believe is preventing, of course, pipelines being built in Alberta. Just take you up on Parliament Hill here now, where you see that people are starting to gather. It's kind of slow to gather. They did arrive on Parliament Hill around 10:30, the group did, and at this point they're waiting for speeches to start. The message, unfortunately, has been a little bit mixed, and some of the organizers admit that has been a bit of an issue. The core message, according to the people who are leading this convoy, is all about building pipelines and making sure the Trudeau government stops putting legislation in place that they say is getting in the way of building those pipelines. On the side, they're saying, unfortunately, there are also people joining in this that are making this about immigration. And I was pulled aside by one person who says that this has become the difficulty that they've been facing with this convoy, that unfortunately some of these people that they claim are from Yellow Vest Canada are making it about immigration and making them sound more racist and xenophobic than they say the core belief is here. And that has been the issue with this convoy as it's traveled across Canada. They've claimed to say that they're not racist and they're not about exclusion, but unfortunately some of those voices are speaking out and speaking out loud. There should be speeches by Glenn Carrott, the person who has been starting this, when it did begin in Red Deer a few days ago. And at this point, it's calm on Parliament Hill. There's supposed to be a counter-protest, and for that reason, there's tons of security around Parliament Hill. They were honking a lot a little while ago, trying to get the attention of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and make sure that that message gets to the Prime Minister. Michael Couture, Global News, Ottawa. Okay, that should be good.
You got police estimates on numbers yet? Any idea? Any estimates on numbers?
Oh, I'm the worst for that.
Yeah.
I am literally one of the worst people to crowd count. I ask every other reporter because I'm like, I have no idea. And how are you feeling about it?
That's what I was thinking.
Hi, it's Mike. So, can we check that? Oh.
Thank you very much, you guys. Thank you. Beautiful city you guys have here in province. Oh my God.
All we want to do is get her through.
So there's going to be people on this side now.
Okay. So here's what we're doing next. I'm going to be handing the Gero to Steve Alexander, and he set up for speeches. Right, so I guess you could just live record for a while, and that could be useful to people. I don't know. And then I'm gonna keep news gathering, and the card that I shot on.
I didn't realize how much Ontario was people from the west.
This makes sense, eh? We got a pretty good sidewalk. The world. Angie.
Yeah.
Run too far.
What?
Run too far.
What's going on?
I need a hug.
Yeah, doesn't bother me. I'm a snowman.
You're more prepared for it than I am.
Yeah. I must have 8 layers.
They sure make it hard. I need people who can give me a
That's the kind of man he is. So.
Hard packer with that camera.
Somebody going over there?
Hey, man, hold plate. Pop up. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Until he popped up again and you swim toward him. You get about this close and you go under again. Yeah, nice. Very close, that's good.
We couldn't even get a shovel. We asked for a shovel. Yeah. Absolutely.
And team got here last. They get the shit side.
Part of the story.
Government for you.
Yeah. Hey, I visited here 5 times. We had the stage set up right there all weekend. We were looking for making signage and such. Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're bringing a lady into the snowbank.
The real
A snow here. She's on the water.
Nothing but bullshit in there.
They got on a ride and I jumped in with another gentleman so I could get my and now
You're here. And you're right here. No wonder you want to
and no thanks to the government for making me sit up here safely.
Yeah, but she's got the best seat in the house. Best seat in the house. Good looking guy on stage like me. She's blushing. That's not cold. That's blushing. That's a nice cue.
Yeah, I went home and my fifth.
Please. They're getting a message out across the country. We need to be friends with the media in this bullpen, please.
All they said you want us to go. They said, they can tow us.
We're making barriers and united for the people.
Anybody got another seat for Loretta? My eardrum's sore.
Would you like me to read this?
Yeah, over your head. Let me see this. Let me see this, Loretta. I don't need this. I could talk louder than this. Here. Just even Ottawa. Heckling. I control heckling. Very well. All right, again, the reason why we're here and not there is because of safety reasons. I literally spent all weekend with my graphic designer doing me a favor, even working Monday to get a big backdrop, 8x8 back here with United We Roll on it. We were going to get everybody to sign it. It's out by the street. They wouldn't let us put it up. You can hold it. Here, let me see that. Let me actually see
You know,
that.
at one time, Canada didn't need all the safety. We used to be the safest country in the world. We used to hold our heads with pride. We didn't need half the police. We were peacekeepers. Now today, where they're worried about us having safety, so they're taking our freedoms and that away. We used to have free roam of the country. We were free. Get up for Jesus! 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 Let's get him out now! Stop the globalism!
United we roll!
Get the corruption out of Canada!
There we go.
We want the truth!
You're quite the firecracker, Loretta. Tell us a story.
It's Canada. The people are hurting. And we are uniting. And we're taking our country back! And we've done this ever since we left Red Deer, Alberta! We've been breaking the barriers! Right now I live in Lloyd, Minnesota, Saskatchewan. I had to drive to Red Deer by myself. And it's beautiful people I've been meeting all across. And this is a convoy for the people, coast to coast, southern border right up to the north. We're uniting. We want the corruption out. We want a government for the people.
Breathe. Breathe now. Breathe. Go. No, keep going. Go.
We want the truth. We want to know everything what's going on in our country. We don't want to be lied to no more. Yes. We want everybody to be treated higher than the politicians and the national government.
Loretta, a little bit of a rule. This is my stage, young lady. Be careful. You just relax. When I have to give you resuscitate you for crying out loud. My stage, young lady. Is my name there? Yeah. My name's on this contract for the stage shit. Yeah.
Another contract.
She came with you, Glenn. That's Loretta from Saskatchewan. We got her in here. We're good.
When Glenn must be there, the world's going to get together, right, Glenn?
We're going to get together tonight. Correct. Yeah, right here. 1:45. We're going to start in 10 minutes. We're going to start in 10 minutes, folks. So gather around, stomp that stove. It is what it is. I'm going to explain what happened here in a minute. That's correct. A little bit. A little bit. No, yeah, no doubt. Mine's already come around there, Glenn. Mine's come around. So again, we got to be respectful for the media, folks. They're spreading our message coast to coast. So let's have respect for these folks, please. Okay. That's a first time. We've always done them up on the step. Always.
I remember back in 1970,
Yeah.
this country used to be so safe. Me, at 13 years old, hitchhiking coast to coast.
Okay, so I can't, we do have to control this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the speakers and stuff. So
She's gonna be quiet.
she'll be good.
She's gonna be awesome. She's just warming up the crowd.
We're gonna.
Yeah, no, I've already told her, this is my stage.
Well, it's our stage.
Yeah, well, yes, we are. We're all gonna sing it too. We're all gonna sing "O Canada." We gotta get the spirit going. We're gonna do it and start in 10 minutes, folks. 10 minutes.
Can you hear me now, Justin?
Glenn, you got Haley close by? She's up. Yeah, she's on first, and then yourself. Glenn, you should go first after me, just to welcome everyone. Then you can come on after. Is it? They'll block it. No, they do that here. No, they do that here. Don't buzz your phones. No, don't buzz your phones. Jay, how are you, sir? Good man, good. You live streaming?
I was. Okay, from CTV just called. How are you?
Good. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Thank you.
How are you? From CTV? I was with Henry Burris this morning. Great guy. Great guy. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead. Let me flip this thing. I had a backstrap being made. I had a skirt. This was going on the skirt in the front. They wouldn't let us do it. They made us take it down because it was a weapon. It is what it is. Not so much this.
When I put it on my tent?
Yeah. Stick it on. Yeah. Put it wherever you want. You beg forgiveness later.
On the side of the camera.
Yeah, yes they do. Oh, it's a great little tour. Yeah, welcome to Ontario, Ottawa, nation's capital. Just in here, they got it controlled. There's areas that are sensitive. But I did a speech probably a month and a half ago in the Senate. I was talking to senators about interprovincial trade. I have a problem with that. The Quebecers come into Ontario, take a lot of our work, and I've blocked bridges previously. So I'm a very vocal person about the...
It's not loud enough.
Not loud enough? Can you turn this up a bit? I mean,
I don't know where they are.
put it up. Why are you getting noise?
I swear to God.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me back there? We can all hear? Good, good, good. That's better. We were even proposing to bring water, and that was not allowed. Bottles of water, we're just going to give them out to the people, or coffee or something. We couldn't. You have to get approval for everything on this hill. Yeah, but hey, it's showtime. It is what it is. You guys can all hear us back there? No problems? Okay. Anybody from BC here? Okay, you got BC. What about Newfoundland? Good. Do we have everybody from every province? Super, super duper. See, the snow is getting flatter all the time, folks, so we got no problems there. You let me know when you're ready to go, Mr. Carrot.
They're going to Canada and you want to finish at the front, I guess. Oh, it's the first speaker.
Kathy is, or Haley. There's Kathy. She's going to do that. And I'll open it up and then we'll go with you. I'll open up and just say words on my behalf and then I'll turn it over to you.
I'm a legal immigrant.
Are you? Awesome.
I came when I was 5.
Is that right?
My mother was almost refused because she had a shadow.
Yeah. Shoot.
We were separated from my dad for well over a year.
Is that right, eh?
River all crying about children being separated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome around. Come on in closer. We're just about to get underway. I'd like to welcome you to the nation's capital, Parliament Hill. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this story about being here. We wanted to be over there on the hill. We were setting up there. We had everything ready to go. We visited Parliament Hill about 5 times, scouting it out. And by virtue of some of the counter-protests that were coming, I was told we're compliant. The other anti-factions, they're not, so it is what it is, and it's showtime. Anyway, welcome to Ontario. Welcome to Parliament Hill. We welcome you all. I'm Ron Barr, General Manager of the Greater Ottawa Truckers Association. Welcome to GOTA country. I met Glenn about 5-6 weeks ago. We talked on the phone. He visited my house. He stayed at my house. I got to tell you, for Glenn Carrot and his crew from Alberta to do what they've done, my goodness gracious. Let's give this guy and his crew a hand I followed them. Jay Riddell right here. Did live feed. The tears that were shed from coast to coast was amazing. The turnout, the thousands of people. These guys had a direct route. We had it all figured out. They had to stop many times because they were overwhelmed with people. That is something else. And again, Jay, wasn't it true? The tears were all over the country. So, without further ado, I'm going to get this guy off the phone so he can concentrate on you. But he's done a great job. Guys like Jay doing live feeds. Everybody honking. Parked on the streets. We have done it very well here in Ottawa. So welcome. We've got some great speeches. Tonight, we're going to Rideau Carleton Casinos. We've got 150 seats put aside. Let's go out and join them. We've got a great deal in the dining room. 2 for 1, 100 item, all-you-can-eat buffet, $19.99, 2 for 1. Let's go out and meet. We'll be able to be in the warmth, and we'll be able to meet these guys with our coats and yellow vests, so whatever you're wearing today. But I urge everybody, let's be peaceful for the media. They're our friends. They're spreading the word around the thousands and thousands that are interested that couldn't make it here today. Let's be peaceful as well. We don't need any issues. We have a little bit of a tainted name. Let's not show that today in Ottawa. Let's be respectful. Let's talk. Let's bring out the concerns. Let's bring out the concerns, but let's be respectful. So without further ado, I'm going to have Kathy lead us off in the singing of our national anthem, and I'd love everybody to join in because there's nothing more patriotic. And then we're going to hear from our organizer, Glenn Carrot, who again, carrying all of Canada on his back, and I'm pleased and proud to be able to support him. So Kathy, come on up.
I just want to say a couple words real quick.
Okay, go ahead. So, this is Glenn Carrot. Let's hear it for Glenn Carrot.
Is this louder? Like, can I bring
Nope. That's his. That's cool. So you got it. You're loud.
Hello, Canada! Listen, there's obviously some mix-up of the steps. I apologize. I guess they were worried about all the other protesters that are over on the other lawn. Maybe the camera crews could just go and have a look over there. And so, this is Canada. We're the hard-working people of this country, and we've united this country by driving across it and meeting every single one of you. We met some amazing people all the way from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. They're coming from the east. We cannot say how amazing it was to see the reception and the thousands of people that met us on the road, and that's what Canada's about. And also, you know what? we're going to also show them what Canada's about, because we're going to stand in the snow and we're going to show them that we're going to be heard, even if it's in the snow. So we're going to make this work because our voices are going to be heard. They heard our horns coming up, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to take the country and make it what we want to make it. The politicians need to start listening to us. I've got a couple, I've got to go down there and fix a couple things. We're going to sing "O Canada." God bless you, we'll be back. We're going to carry on.
Kathy. All right, we're all going to join in the singing with Kathy.
Welcome everybody. I am so honorably humbled to be here amongst you today. 2 years ago, I attended my first town hall. I'm not a politician. I've never been in politics. I seen a thing on Facebook that said that if you want to ask the Prime Minister a question, come down, register at Marianne Monsef's website, and you can get in. I tried 3 times. I registered in that website, and every single time I was told I'd get an email confirmation shortly. That email confirmation never came. The 4th time I registered, I got an email real quick and said, "Sorry, no room at the end, full." I showed up for a hydro protest out on the sidewalk that morning, and I was the only person that showed up that had the balls to make that sign and get out there. I was 2 hours early, and well, the rest is history. So whatever you heard in the media, I was not hired, I was not paid anything. It was just my lucky day, and today's the 2nd luckiest day in my life. So to start things off today, I want to remember God. This is God's country, and I want to thank you all for coming today. I want to start with singing "Amazing Grace." I'd like you to join in, and we're going to have a moment of silence. And during that moment of silence, please acknowledge 2 very special people. Last week, we lost a beautiful little 11-year-old girl, Raya. We want to remember Raya today in our moment of silence. And we also want to remember our Attorney General, because you know what? To me, she's Lady Balls Ontario. She has the courage to stand up. So, Jody Wilson Raymond, we're all with you today, Miss Jody. So, without no further ado, let's sing "Amazing Grace" and go into 1 minute silence, and then we'll sing "O Canada." Okay. Amazing grace, how sweet the song that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining in the stars, we know that you've begun the hour it first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh my God, I'm just gonna cry. Keep singing. The hour we first believed. Now, let me do a moment of silence. Oh, Canada,
everybody sing.
Our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons come.
on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Glenn, come on up here and lead us off, kick us off.
Mark Friesen, are you in the crowd? Come here, please.
Don't make me cry.
We're moving the stage to the fire truck.
All right.
We're going to go up on top of the fire truck because the Anthem clubs are all down there. They're getting the main stage and we're not.
Okay. Your call. The cops will have it now. So yeah. Just make the announcement. Go ahead. They'll stop you.
I just want to make sure we got room. Like, I want to put us up on the fire truck, whoever's speaking. Can we move this PA system at all? Is that not?
I have a portable one right there. It's just as good. It's all heated up. Doesn't need any electricity. It's all charged. It's in my truck.
Do we have any other?
You better check that with the cops though. They might stop you.
Oh, they might. But can you get out? Let's sit down and see if we can just do that.
Okay, I'm gonna get somebody speaking just so you're getting that done.
So this minute.
Yeah, let's build that pipe! Listen, I'm not particularly happy with what's happening right here with our stage. So, but I want everybody's with us. I'm gonna go and check out. We might make a different stage on top of my fire truck, and but I want to make sure it works because and we're gonna load up some horns because we got protesters down there. We want to drown them out, but we're gonna have a couple speakers first. So just hang with us. This is us. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling like we always do. United we roll.
I'm going to get Jack Mclaren. He's a local MPP. Jack Mclaren, come on up here. You're going to say some words. Our first, one of our first speakers. Come on up here, Jack Mclaren. Yeah, come on in, Jack Mclaren. Jack McLaren's a good friend of the Truckers Association, a good friend of Truckers, former MPP. Jack has been instrumental in helping me with the Quebec issues. He's put fairness is a two-way street together and such. So here it is, Jack McLaren.
Hey, thanks, Ron. And it's great to be here with all you folks from Alberta and Saskatchewan and wherever else you are from Canada. We're here as Canadians. We're here as Canadians who are proud to be part of our natural resource industries. This country, which is supposed to be the best country in the world, which used to be the best country in the world, was built on natural resources, being oil number one, mining, forestry, and agriculture. Always was, is today, and will be in the future. So we're with you. I am a farmer here in Ottawa, so forgive me for that part. The Ottawa part, I mean, not the farmer part. I used to live in Alberta for 7 years, and I was there in the 70s with my wife Janet, who's over here, right over here. Hi, Janet. We went through that 1981 crash of the oil industry. I was one of the eastern boys that went west in the 70s to get jobs, because that's where the jobs were, in Vancouver and Alberta. Yes. And we were doing well until everything crashed. And we lost our job. I lost my job. I did too. We had Janet and I were married, we had 2 babies and a mortgage, and no job. So that is tough. So I know what's going on in Alberta right now, in Saskatchewan, anywhere the oil industry is, and it's terrible. We have a huge supply of oil. The world wants to buy it, and we can't build goddamn pipelines because of Justin Trudeau. He should have received that message before now. I think he has. He's turning his back on the people that create the wealth that's built this nation and will build it in the future. We get bills like C-68 and C-69, which are going to regulate us to death even worse than we already are, which are going to stop oil freighters from going up and down the BC coast to carry oil, and they're going to stop the offshore oil drilling in Newfoundland as well. Not to mention what they're going to do to mining and forestry and agriculture as well. So,
one country destroys itself.
right.
Canada.
So we are here to speak not as Albertans or Saskatchewan people or Newfoundlanders or Ontarians, but as Canadians to tell our government that we are not happy with the government of Canada. We are not happy with Justin Trudeau. I want to tell you I was a member of provincial parliament here in Ontario for 7 years until last June, and I lost the election. So I have a good job again. I'm a farmer again, which I thoroughly enjoy.
He's a farmer, good farmer.
I'm part of the Trillium Party of Ontario. I quit the PC Party of Ontario because I got tired of a party that was fearful and afraid to stand up for the people that they represented. And all they were trying to do was worry about how do we say whatever you need to hear so you'll vote for us, whoever you might be, instead of doing what was right. So I quit the PC Party because I refused to be told what to do. I would speak out for what was right, which is the people that have elected me, which is democracy. And I joined the Trillium Party, and for my last year at Queen's Park, I had the freedom to speak and vote the way I thought was right for the people that I represented. And I want to tell you, the Trillium Party of Ontario supports you, because you are the backbone of the economy of this country. Great to be here with you people. Thanks for making the journey, and we'll be here all day to stand with you. Thank you.
Jack is a great guy. Thank you, Jack. Jack, you coming for dinner with us tonight at the track, at the casino?
Absolutely.
Good. And where's Janet? Where's your wife? There's one trooper. These guys have been very, very big supporters of truckers. One of the best in Ontario. So thank you very much. Our next speaker. Where's Mark? Here's Mark Friesen. Mark, and you're going to introduce another special guest of yours, correct? Here you go. Thank you.
Ivan, can you just stand down there and try to stay out of the other media? Sorry, folks, we're just getting our live feed on Facebook also ready, because we've spent our whole trip taking the rest of our Canadian patriots with us. So I just want to make sure we're up and ready to go.
My feet are freezing.
Folks, if everybody's on the shoulders of the convoy.
Can you use your phone or somebody else's? I need that.
I'm just going to make a quick announcement. Anybody lost a key? It's right here. It's a GMC, a key. Come and see me.
Hopefully not a truck.
It might be GMC. All right, there you go.
All right, folks. What a day to be Canadian. I want you guys to be loud when I'm speaking. I don't care if you interrupt me with screaming. Do it. That's what we're here for. We're standing here for you folks. We drove here for all you folks.
All the people are breaking barriers and united.
Listen to that. So the first demand that I'm going to make on behalf of all Canadians across Canada is that we identify February 19th Patriots Day in Canada. This, right now, and I don't care if it's on any piece of paper, right now, as of now, February 19th is Patriots Day in Canada. So, my name is Mark Friesen. I'm from Saskatoon. I have a small business in Saskatoon. I actually worked for the government for 25 years in prison. So, I understand how government works, or better phrased, doesn't work. I'm just a prairie boy with a deep love of my country and my fellow Canadians, my culture of freedom, liberty, responsibility, tolerance, equality, hard work, hockey, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You're in Ottawa country.
But it's interesting because I've never considered myself a patriot. I've never had to identify openly and loudly as a patriot. Of course, I've always been one. I've always felt it like the rest of us. We win a gold medal, I cry because we win a gold. So I'm a patriot and I'm now a loud patriot. It's necessary for us to become patriots. And I was inspired to be loud and proud about being a patriot because of the individual that works in that office that we pay for, that we call Prime Minister. I won't refer to him by name. I don't believe he deserves the respect because he does not respect any of us. So when I refer to him, I will refer to him as Little Potato. Thank you to the Chinese. I'll tell you what really, the day where I woke up angry is the day when I woke up and I heard he say openly that Canada is a post-nation state. What? And that's coming from the leader of our country. Calling my country a post-nation state? We have veterans. We have veterans in our families that gave everything, sacrificed all for our sovereignty, for our nation, for our freedom and our liberty. Nobody, including our Prime Minister, is going to give that away. But we have to understand why he did that. It wasn't just some flippant remark. That was a message to his UN puppet masters. That's what that was. Now, our successive governments, they have, since 1972, sold us out to the UN in differing degrees. They've signed on and been party to the Sustainable Development Agenda. Now that agenda is an extremely large document that has evolved into a behemoth that has created all of the policies that we're standing around looking at in Canada wondering, where is this coming from? For example, the carbon tax. How is a carbon tax applicable to Canadians? When you consider, they like to tell us that our emissions, our contribution globally is 1.6%. But that's before they count all the trees in our country, which is 318 billion, give or take a few million. We are a carbon sink in Canada. This scam they call climate change, this scam they call, and they're going to defeat it with carbon tax, is exactly that, it's a scam. They've convinced, with the help of the media, they have convinced many, many folks that we're going to do something by paying a carbon tax. No, we're not. Well, we are. What they're doing with the UN, backing from the UN, is it's part of the redistribution of wealth program that they've instituted on a global level. They are taking wealth from the West and they are redistributing it throughout the world. They've been doing this for years, for 50 years. And if it was something that was going to work, wouldn't it have worked all right now and we wouldn't have a migrant crisis? The fact of the matter is, it doesn't work because that money never sees the people on the ground. Now, while I talk about migrants, I want to make it very clear. This vest does not represent racism. This vest does not represent violence. This vest represents freedom. This vest represents sovereignty. This vest represents unity. We are a country of immigrants. We built this great country of immigrants. We want more immigration. We need more immigration. But we need to determine these policies in Canada for Canadians. Not some policy developed by an international body that has zero interest in Canada's best interest. In fact, they want us divided, as they've been dividing us for years. They've been dividing us by provinces. They've been dividing us by regions. They've been dividing us by issues. What I saw on this convoy from Saskatoon, where I joined in Regina, what I saw was unbelievable. The expectation I had was nothing in comparison to the reality of what happened. I seen thousands upon thousands of people sitting in my truck through my live feed, crying together while we're in the convoy talking to each other. It's about unity. But I want to say this, because I joined this convoy because it was developed and supported by the energy industry and the people that work hard in Alberta and Saskatchewan. That industry is under attack. There's a reason why it's under attack, and people are losing their livelihoods, they're losing their homes, they're losing their families. It's crushing to the industry, an industry that Saskatchewan and Alberta depend on. Not only do we depend on it, the rest of the country depends on it. We need to fix what the problem is and go for the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the Sustainable Development Agenda and the policies created by UN and global governance. You cut that head of the snake off, we get our country back. All of it. Including pipelines built, including dumping the carbon tax, including getting rid of the migrant pact, and we'll decide. I have one more little bit here I want to say. I know I get carried away and I get rambling, but boy, am I passionate. Boy, is my patriotism burning. It's blowing up in my body, what this convoy has done. We need the rest of Canada to blow up in love and in unity. So, this message is to the rest of Canada. We love you. But I want to say this loud and clear, folks. You may see a yellow vest rally and you may avoid it. You may laugh when the media makes fun and shames the yellow vest. You may dismiss the yellow vest as not to be, so you're not lumped in with the narrative and the labeling. You may be scared to support the yellow vest for fear of repudiation. But know this. If you love your country, you are a yellow vest. If you cherish your freedom, you are a yellow vest. If you want to regain, maintain, and protect your nation's sovereignty, you are a yellow vest. If you believe our Canadian culture of freedom, liberty, equality, respect, responsibility, and tolerance is real and worth protecting, you are a yellow vest. If you're tired and frustrated at establishment governments abusing you in your hard-earned tax dollars, very good. If you've had enough of our media and our politicians and our special interest groups dividing us, you are a yellow vest. And I know you good folks right here running the cameras, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about your co-workers, your colleagues. I'm talking about your bosses. Now listen, if you support our energy industry, if you support pipelines, if you support farmers and ranchers, you support our industries and our economy, then so the next time you hear someone in the media or some politician degrading a yellow vest, they're degrading you. When you see a news report that claims the yellow vest is racist, they're calling us all racist.
They need to go to jail!
The media is racist.
There are many reasons for donning a vest and joining the movement, but for those who ignore those reasons and excuses, don a yellow vest, voice their concerns loudly and proudly. Stand up to the shaming, the labeling. They're doing it for you and your children and your grandchildren.
And the future!
They're doing it in spite of the hate. They're doing it in spite of the labeling. They're doing it in spite of the shaming. These fellow Canadians are doing it for the love of their country and their love of our freedom. We are patriots. So on behalf of all and every Canadian patriot at this rally and across the beautiful, united and free country I'm standing here to represent, we want you all to commit to dumping the carbon tax. Get the pipelines built. Treat our energy industry, along with all hardworking Canadians, with respect. Denounce and reject the Migrant Pact in its entirety and give us our sovereignty back. Reject and denounce the Sustainable Development Agenda and back away from all agendas attached to it. And finally, withdraw from the UNSPA. Power of the people is stronger than the people in power. Long live Canada and her citizens. Enjoy your very first Patriots Day. I have one little bit to my speech. I want to invite a good friend of mine. I spent the trip coming up with him. Ivan, come on up here. Ivan happens to be an immigrant. Now I've been called a xenophobe more times than I can count because of this yellow vest. Well, I'm going to let everybody know that calls me that and has in the past two things.
Here you go, Rudy.
Two things. My wife of 10 years is an immigrant. She's not a Canadian citizen because the system doesn't allow her to be. It took her 4 years just to get coverage for health care. My wife is an immigrant. I love her to death. My good friend Ivan, secondly, is also an immigrant. He's been with us for 12 years. Give a big shout out to Ivan. Ivan is, as of 2 years ago, a Canadian citizen and a patriot. Ivan's sick, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, fellow patriots. So nice to see that you guys show up in such a huge number. I just wanted to say, I came to this country 12 years ago, and after 3 days, I believe, I decided that I'm going to live here and make this my homeland. I decided to stay here. I got married here, got kids here, and there's nothing that I love more than my wife, kids, and this country. Saying that us as a yellow vest are racist, that's just not true. I'm an immigrant myself, and I can be a racist. I can't be a racist toward myself. I just want to send a message here. All the people who come to this country like I did should respect this country, respect the Canadian values, Canadian way of living, and become a Canadians in whole. I'm not going to say anything else. This is all for me. I'm going to let the other people talk. So this was short and with an impact, I think.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for these speakers so far. Mark Friesen and this gentleman here. Welcome to Canada. You're an asset to our country. Our next speaker, all the way from Saskatchewan, is Senator, the Honorable David Tkachuk. We used to have a, what was that hockey player? He called it Tkachuk. Tkachuk. Come on up, Senator. We really appreciate you taking the time. This is a fellow Saskatchewan. Let's hear it for him. Thank you. There you go.
Well, I'd like to welcome you to Ottawa. It's too bad that you got removed from the place you were supposed to be at and had to meet here. I want to say to all of you, thank you for coming, and I wish all the MPs could see the people here who have traveled from all parts of Canada. I'm sorry I have to hold it so close. To all parts of Canada. I'm the critic on Bill C-68 in the Senate. I'm the chairman, and now it's in committee right now in the Energy and Environment Committee. I'm also the chair of the Transport Committee, which is handling that other abominable bill called C-48. And so, if I don't know whether many of you had heard that Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Trudeau, Gerald Butts, had resigned yesterday. I think we can all be thankful for that. But if you noticed, or you may not have, but in his letter of resignation, he brought up the idea of climate change. And I want to just leave you with the perspective that I thought I brought to the Chamber in December in my speech, was that this is not about Bill C-68. This is not about Bill 48. This is not about Bill C-69. This is a clear attempt by the Government of Canada to destroy the energy industry. And with that, with destroying the energy industry, they will destroy, of course, the pipeline industry. So I know you've rolled all the way here, and I'm going to ask you one more thing. I want you to roll over every liberal left in the country. Because when they're gone, these bills are gone. Thank you very much. The very best of luck.
We'll vote those bills down, but we can't vote.
Can I just get around here? Go that way. Sorry, guys. Can you guys hear me okay here? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jason LeBlanc, and I come from Estevan, Saskatchewan. And I am proud to be part of this deal here. This is a peaceful rally. It's a bit of a warning shot, is what we're going to call it. We want the Prime Minister to hear our message. This, the naysayers, they said it couldn't be done. The keyboard warriors all called us racist, bigots, and any other names they could think of as we made our way across this great country. The protesters tried to stop us just outside of Winnipeg, but our little peaceful convoy made it. We're here. As I said earlier, my name is Jason LeBlanc, and I'm here today as a fourth-generation farmer. And I'm standing here united with agricultural producers across Canada who wish to secure the future of our children and our grandchildren that is affordable and sustainable. There is a common misconception that those of us in the agricultural industry are uneducated. We are not. In order to be successful in the industry, we must possess management skills, marketing skills, and development traits that are closely related to those of veterinarians, crop scientists, agronomists, economists, meteorologists, climate scientists, and tradespeople. In fact, more than ever, we are highly educated, skilled farmers, and I am proud to be part of that collective. I am here to let all of Canada and Prime Minister Trudeau know that farm families and those who work in the oil industry are human.
We work just as hard as anyone else. We pay taxes, we contribute to our communities, and we know what it takes to make the world go round. The contribution that agriculture and oil make to the overall well-being of Canada are immeasurable, and they create many benefits to other sectors, including energy, service, food, hospitality, construction, health, education, manufacturing, safety, distribution, and trucking, trades, everything, all included. I am proud of the relationship that coexists between agriculture and the oil industry. Farmers work together with the oil industries to allow access to the land for the purpose of drilling the wells. Once the oil is refined into usable fuel, the ag producers purchase it and use it to create sustainable food supply for our country of Canada. Thank you, guys. We have lots of farmer support here today, and I appreciate it. Agriculture does not exist without oil, and oil cannot be refined without agricultural land to drill on. My hometown of Estevan, Saskatchewan, we are known as the Energy City. We are proud of that claim. We are proud of our city. But Prime Minister Trudeau's policies have put a profound impact on our community. The state of uncertainty has clouded investment, killed jobs, eroded community support for programs, made it difficult for business to obtain and retain qualified employees, decreased property values, and turned people's dreams and hopes of an amazing life into a nightmare. Day after day, our industry continues to fall victim to the Trudeau government and their ridiculous notion that budgets will balance themselves. Bill C-69 and C-48, if passed, these bills will hinder the ability to extract Canada's resources from Canadian land through our highly regulated industries to meet the high demand and the ability to compete on a global stage. Our inability to do so to get these resources to market will ultimately reduce the national revenue, impacting all areas of Canada, from healthcare to infrastructure to equalization payments. Caught in the crosshairs of these detrimental bills will be the agriculture industry, which will face increased operating costs, taxes, and regulations, which will then see the unfortunate loss of farmers, and the rising cost will be passed across to all Canadians, rural and urban. The climate change, after going through more name changes than a government department, climate change continues to be the main force behind these bills of economic destruction. I am not a climate change skeptic or a denier. I strongly believe that the climate change goes in cycles and will continue to do so. However, I am a man-made climate change doomsday denier. All too often we hear the comment from the politicians in the media stating that 97% of scientists agree that climate change is real. Yet they do not explain what it means. Alex Epstein from Prager University states that when we hear this quote, we need to ask two questions. What do the scientists agree on, and how do they prove it? He also states that we should be more scared of losing the proven benefits of fossil fuels because they are cheap, plentiful, and reliable, more so than unproven negative climate change accusations that they supposedly create. Let's not forget Al Gore. Al Gore and his global predictions. If those models had been true, I wouldn't be standing here bundled up in a winter parka, toque, mitts, and a Saskatchewan bunny hug. I would be standing up here in front of you in my flip-flops and shorts while reading this speech. He utilized fear to make sure that he capitalized on this issue. And he got rich doing it. Will Happer, a physicist and professor at Columbia and Princeton University, states, and I quote, "Aside from the human brain, the climate is the most complex thing on the planet. The number of factors that influence the climate, the sun, the Earth's orbital properties, oceans, cloud, and yes, industrial man, is huge and enormously variable." And that's the end quote. What this means is that computers cannot accurately predict climate change because there are too many equations involved to do so accurately. He gives the example that Hurricane Irma's path in 2017, which could not be predicted accurately 2 days ahead of real-time data being collected, which begs the question, How can we predict climate change decades from now? Happer also states that water, H2O, has a greater effect on the heating and cooling of the atmosphere than CO2. Moreover, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change published in their third assessment report, and I quote, "In climate research and modeling, we should recognize that we are dealing with a coupled non-linear chaotic system, and therefore that the long prediction of future climate states is not possible." End quote from the United Nations. Citizens who believe in the idea of man-made climate change are quick to refute points with the first Google result that they find to support their argument. They do not take the time to research the entire issue and respond with independent thought that would support their facts. As farmers, our livelihood depends on being good stewards of the land that we love. We need to know weather patterns, plant disease, soil quality, and potential for drought and food and a flood, as our budgets depend on it. It is through this knowledge that we can all continue to provide food for Canada, successful and safety. The egg industry has been well ahead of this game in environmental issues. We as farmers, we have embraced zero-till, crop rotations, cover crops, GPS technologies, auto-steer, irrigation, precise farming, shelter belts, pest control, the list goes on. We have paid dearly for forced technological advancements in equipment to satisfy government regulations. Where is the credit for this? Our agriculture industry has been successful through these practices and have reduced carbon from the atmosphere. To the surprise of many, we have found useful ways to use CO2 in other industries. When will Mr. Trudeau and Ms. McKenna take note of these accomplishments and acknowledge that Canada is not the issue in climate change? If one truly believes that global CO2 emissions are the problem, then what really matters is results achieved by the top Then what really matters is the results achieved by the top emitting countries like China and the US. Ultimately, we all know that after taking a simple science class that CO2 is needed. It provides life for the plants and the living organisms. Life does not exist if it were not for CO2. After all, profitable greenhouses will pump CO2 into the greenhouse for plants that are later sold for food products. It is time for Canada to acknowledge what is happening. A culture of fear is being created through negative rhetoric in regards to the climate change, making way for the acceptance of a liberal ideology. Even though Canada is responsible for this said 1.7% of global emissions, we are all allowing Justin Trudeau to advance his personal agenda and future promotions at the cost of the agricultural, oil and gas industries, the future of Western Canada, and more importantly, the entire Canadian economy. Carbon tax is not a price on pollution, it is a price on industry. It is a tax on all Canadians, and we will pay dearly for it due to the out-of-control spending by the Trudeau government and the belief that budgets will balance themselves. The cost of living will increase dramatically. This tax will be applied to almost every product that I use on the farm, and this is how it's going to affect you. My local municipality fuel expenses will increase, so that means that I will pay higher taxes. My local leisure center heating bills increase, means I will pay higher taxes. My local grocer, hardware, clothing store, transportation expenses, everything you can think of in your community will increase, and it'll make me pay more taxes. My local farm dealership manufacturers expenses will increase, causing me to pay more taxes. Your guys' my local healthcare and education services will cost more to provide, so that means we will pay higher taxes. The list goes on and on and on. Many questions are being raised based on Justin Trudeau's claim that this is a revenue neutral tax. How will the government rebate families more than they pay? Where does this extra money come from? Is this just a redistribution of wealth in a form of social welfare? We know that our country cannot afford the maximum price it needs to charge in order to hit the Paris Agreement targets, so why are we doing this? This tax will continue to put Canada at an unfair trading position and is forcing our industries and jobs elsewhere. where the environmental regulations are inferior to ours. This tax will not only phase out the fossil fuel industry here, but will also phase out the very standard of living that we are admired for around the world.
How many pages you got there? Two more.
The ultimate truth is that this tax mechanism is a place of a hike on GST. How do you ask? Every bill you receive from here on in, you will have a carbon tax. On top of that, you will have a 5% GST. How is that additional 5% that we are charged going to be returned to us? In the last little bit, what I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to bring some information that you just might not know in the East. My hometown of Estevan, Saskatchewan is home to the world's first clean coal carbon capture and storage project. According to SaskPower, since its inception in 2016 and as of the end of December 2018, the facility has captured 2,465,333 tons of carbon, which is the equivalent of taking approximately 616,333 cars off the road. That's just one unit in that short time frame. There are possibilities in Canada and around the world that we could take this technology, sell the idea, and enhance the fossil fuel industry, not shut it down. If industry is supportive, as Mr. Trudeau states, then allow industry to make the changes and develop solutions to meet the requirements that you have signed us on to. Taxing is not the answer. No. Mr. Trudeau, there is a movement rising against you and the so-called price on carbon. And it started in my hometown province of Saskatchewan. Now, Prince Edward Island, Manitoba, Ontario, New Brunswick, and eventually Alberta will join. Ontario once tried to be a climate change leader. How did that work out?
Terrible!
British Columbia, who has chosen to enact the carbon tax, just received the devastating news report in the Vancouver Sun, January 2018, that with the tax applied, the province for the year of 2015 has seen an increase of 1.6% in emissions over the previous year. The tax is not an effective way to reduce emissions. For more proof, all you need to do is take a look at Australia. In conclusion, Justin Trudeau, Western Canada has always been an economic powerhouse in our country, but today we stand broken because of policies that are for the good of the globe. And that is your quote. There have been times in the past when Eastern Canada has had to rely on the power of Western Canada for survival, and we have always welcomed them with open arms because we are one country. The very resources which provided for a better way of life is now despised because of you. It is time for the narrative to change. Our industry is not a dirty industry, but rather one of black gold. The gold has been used to finance government spending for many years. How will we be able to continue to finance these areas when you are denying the use of Canada's natural resources? It is unfortunate that your government, as Rex Murphy puts it, devalues the things that count. You have set unrealistic climate targets. Even you have said if Canada shuts down all industry, it would not have an impact on the overall global emissions. You cannot announce policy changes to our energy and ag sectors without allowing time for the needed infrastructure to replace it. Ms. McKenna states that your environmental plan will grow the economy and keep life affordable. How did that work in Ontario? Please do not confuse motion with progress. The tax is one that must continually be increased to hit unrealistic climate targets and will bankrupt industries as it increases. There is no end in sight. The ultimate goal is that you will have control over all industry, attempt to be successful with your urbanization plans and manipulate society through basic human needs and make the globe a one world government. Your solar panel, windmill, hydro plants, and electric cars are not 100% green as you claim. How are the chemicals mined for these solar panels? How are they recycled after they use? Where does the steel come from for the windmills that are made and the oil needed to operate them? Hydro plants are made out of concrete. What comprises concrete? Fly ash. Where does it come from? Coal. Ladies and gentlemen, the electric cars have lithium batteries, plastic bodies, rubber tires, all oil industry byproducts. Today is the day that we remind you, Mr. Prime Minister, that you work for all of us in Canada. We are here to let you know that carbon tax, Bill C-69, C-48 will be the ultimate demise of our energy and agricultural sectors, the very sectors that provide large portion of equalization payments. This election in October will be the most crucial of our lifetime. It is imperative that everyone get out to vote. We need to make our voices loud. Volunteer for your candidates. Get out and make sure that Canada can move forward in all industries. It's time to put the grain on the train and the oil in the pipe.
All right, new rule. I'm vetting any speeches. Mr. Zimmer, come on up here, and I want to see your speech. I want to prove it first. I think we got all soup and nuts. I don't think there's much you can add, Mr. Bob Zimmer. Bob is from Prince George, Peace River in Northern Rockies. And we want to hear, he's also the Parliamentary Outdoor Caucus member, so we want to hear about why we're standing in the snow. Bob, here you go. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me back there. Do we have anybody from Fort St. John back there? Hey, I see some back there. How about, hey, good to see you guys. So I'm from Fort St. John. I got my first job was actually working in the oil patch and working on pipelines. So I have first-hand experience about being in the cold, working at minus 30. We worked actually all the way to minus 50. But I just wanted to say one thing to all of you, first of all, is I think instead of being where you have to come to the government to protest to have a job, I think we need to thank you all for providing gas to our homes so we actually have warm homes to go home to. So thank you. And all those protesters, it's funny, I fly back and forth from Fort St. John to Ottawa every week, and I see a whole bunch of members of the NDP. I see members that are against oil and gas get on the same airplanes as I do. One namely Miss Elizabeth May, and she interestingly gets on the same plane as well. And you know what actually fuels the planes coming from Vancouver to Ottawa? It's oil coming from the Kinder Morgan pipeline. So to get in that plane, she actually has to use a project that she's supposedly 100% opposed to. I just wanted to say thanks to you all for coming. I know I have a lot of friends out there. I love the horns, love the trucks. You're making a difference. You're being noticed today. We'll be back out in a bit. I have to go back to work in the house. We're dealing with a little thing called S&C Lavalin. Yeah. Andrew just made a statement in the house, and I guess we're coming out here again in about an hour. So we'll see you again in a little bit. But I wanted to thank you all. Thanks to the organizers for really pulling this together. I know it's a great effort to really pull it off. And again, thank you all for coming. Keep up the good work.
That was great. Thank you very much. We'll see you in an hour or so. Listen to that noise out there, folks. That's tremendous. I'm going to get Jerome, and then I'm going to get Jay up here. Jerome, come on up here. Say your story. Say your story.
My story is oil in the pipe, grain on train. Okay. I have a sign here that my daughter made me bring to Capitol Hill for Trudeau. My daughter is 12 years old, and that's the sign she made for me. My name is Joram Olwen from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. I migrated to Canada in 23 years ago.
Beautiful person.
Yes, Canada we roll! I migrated lawfully. I have been in Canada. I work in the oil patch. I run a business. If I tell you my story with a little bit of my story with the Immigration Canada. Immigration Canada used to be a very strict, very straightforward, and very lean. The reason why I'm here is because I went through the immigration process successfully. Out of 5 of us that migrated to Canada, only 2 made it successfully. The vetting, the security background had to be checked.
That's right. Exactly!
And that happened at your own expense. You could not work. You had to go through the immigration process. No income, no government support.
Exactly!
What ticks me off is after 2 years of processing my immigration papers to try and be a Canadian citizenship, to get my Canadian citizenship, I could not get it. It took me 4 years. No, you could not work because you're not a Canadian permanent resident. And now, what ticks me the most is somebody can walk through the border. And guess what? That guy over there wants them to vote for him. No! No! Say no! There is no one in this world that can vote if you are not a citizen of that country. I love the oil patch, I love the farmers, I love Canadians, and that's why I became a Canadian citizenship. I am a yellow vest, and we stand for unity. I will, sorry, can you open this for me?
Take a picture of that.
That is true Canadianship brotherhood.
Exactly!
What are we looking for? Hey, look at this again. Get pictures of this.
Okay. I became a Canadian citizen in 2001 after 4 years of hard fighting. I had to take oath to be a Canadian citizen. You have to take oath. Trudeau does not want people to take oath. Trudeau wants to divide the nation. No! When I became a Canadian citizen, that is what I got. I'm gonna read it. As a Canadian, you must uphold the principles of democracy, freedom, compassion, which are the foundation and a strong and united Canada. Yellow vest, coast to coast, united we roll. You have made a difference. You have shaken Parliament Hill. People are stepping down. We want Trudeau to step down. If he does not step down, build the pipeline. Yes. And my last message is, I heard that Trudeau used to be a boxer.
You heard that?
I don't know. I never seen it. I wasn't in Canada. But I challenge Trudeau for a boxing match. That boxing match must happen in the oil patch or in a wheat field. If Trudeau does not comply to to the boxing match, I know that is a wuss. I leave you Canadians with that much, and guess what? The struggle just begun. Thank you very much, and hopefully that we'll make it.
My goodness, what a compassionate speech. Now our next speaker is Mr. Maxime Bernier. Come on up, Max, People's Party. Max, I'm going to hand you a pretty hot mic. That's a tough act to follow, isn't it? We're really pleased you're here. Maxime Bernier, let's hear it for him.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing that and for being here to protest, because you're not asking for a handout, you're not asking for any privileges, you're just asking for being sure that this country will be able to build pipelines. That's important, not only for you, that's important for all Canadians. And yes, you're right. We don't need a carbon tax. We don't need the bill C-69. We don't need the bill C-48. And under our leadership, with the People's Party of Canada, we will scrap C-49, we will scrap C-69, we will privatize the other pipeline. So we need to have a pipeline that would be built by the private sector for you and for our friends from all over the country. So it's easy to say that. It's very easy. Justin Trudeau told you that you'll have a pipeline. Andrew Scheer is saying the same thing. And I'm saying the same thing. Who's right? Who's going to deliver a pipeline? We need
a constitution!
Yes, we need to use the Constitution. So, I said the same thing in French in Quebec. I said the same thing in English in New Brunswick. I said the same thing in English in Alberta. And now I'm telling you that. Yes, we need to do some consultation. But if we don't have any agreement, we need to use our Constitution. We need to use the Section 9210 and declare a pipeline for the advantage of our country. And yes, if we don't have an agreement with the politician in Quebec or the politician in BC, we will use the Constitution and impose a pipeline. Because Canadians know that it's first of all safer to build a pipeline today. It is safer for the environment. It is safer for the population. And Quebecers remember what happened 7 years ago in Lac Mégantic. We need to transport our oil and gas by pipeline, and we need to use the Constitution if necessary. I'm asking you, ask that question to the other politicians who will come here, if they have the courage to use the Constitution if necessary to build a pipeline. Ask that question to Justin Trudeau, we know the answer. Ask that question to Andrew Scheer, he was not able to answer that in French in Quebec when they asked the question. And the journalist said to Andrew Scheer, do you think that you will use the Constitution to build a pipeline if Quebec, the politicians in Quebec are against that? He was not able to answer the question. You know, I'm answering that question. Our goal is to speak to our fellow Canadians and speaking about what is good for this country, for the unity of this country. We need pipeline, but not only that, we need to have a fair equalization formula. We need to be sure that it would be fair for everybody. If we want to unite our country, we need these two reform at the federal level, and I'm there. The People's Party of Canada is there to deliver that for you and for all Canadians. BBC! 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 Thank you guys!
Max. I gotta give a little speech here. We traveled across this country, all the way from Red Deer, Alberta. I was the one in the lead with Angie. My voice is a little rough and I apologize for that, but that was from one absolute powerful movement that we were performing as we came across this country. We united Canada all the way along from end to end. We were able to unify this country as we walked across and drove across and shook hands with every little person, every child, every mother, father, everybody. And we had heard nothing but love and help from everybody when it came from getting across this country. And I'd like to say for everybody out here, this United We Roll Convoy for Canada was an absolute pleasure. It was my absolute honor to be up here with you guys and have the opportunity to get our message across that we need to unite this country. We need to take this country back. We need to allow ourselves to join and have our voices heard and exercise our political rights. And that is what we did. So for that, I thank you, Canada, for allowing me to come across, to get this voice, to get our voices heard, to allow us to invoke our political rights, and allow us to stand up for our Canadian Charter of Rights. This is our movement, Canada. We're making history. We're making this happen. The world is watching us. We need to act responsibly when it comes to this. We need to be the people for the people. This is a responsible movement, and it's a historical moment in Canada. So please, please, spread the word, get it out there. We are here to unite the country because this country has been told we are divided. Well, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Trudeau, I just drove across this country, and I am not united. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers as we came across this country. Okay, this convoy went viral as we were coming across. It was an absolutely amazing moment for Canadians to watch as we came to fight for you guys, to fight for America, the people that can't get up and talk for themselves, to fight for the oil worker, to fight for the miner, the lumberjack, to fight for every Canadian. I'm talking teachers. I'm talking... That is what we brought. Canada heard this movement move across the country. And they are listening. And they are following us. And they love every single one of you, you, and you. We are not divided at all. Ontario loved us coming across. It was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Canada. Thank you for letting me represent this convoy across the country. Thank you for letting me sit inside your homes all week while you guys are trying to do your stuff. I've been told that they haven't watched TV for over 4 days because it was absolutely phenomenal watching this happen. So thank you. I love you. I love every one of you guys. You know that. I've told you that 1,000 times coming across this country. I absolutely love you, Canada. And thank you for allowing me to have the opportunity to represent you guys here in Parliament. Thank you.
Well done. Let's hear for this gentleman here. Great job. Great job. All right, Mr. Brad Trost, come on up here, Brad. You ran for the leadership. Not yet, Brad. Not yet. I'm on the show here. Anyway, Brad, here you go. Say some wisdom. Thank you.
Hi.
We got a big fan over here.
I'm Brad Trost, soon to be ex-politician and back in the real world. Thank you for coming here today. I grew up in a farm family in rural Saskatchewan that unfortunately the one time we moved to Alberta was right before the National Energy Program hit. So my family knows what it is to go through tough times. Farming's a tough business. It was for 20 years. So when I was getting ready to
to think about what I was going to say to here today, I was reading a bedtime story to my littlest daughter. And it's a story from Dr. Seuss. It's called Horton Hears a Who. If you know the story, you know where I'm going with this one. Horton was the only person, he was the only person who heard the Who's. He had big ears, he listened, but the Who's could not be heard by anyone else. They kept trying to have their voices heard, but no one would listen but Horton. Finally, at the end, every single Who in Whoville gave a final shout, and then, when they thought they were all exhausted and couldn't be heard, only then did people finally hear them. And that's why what you're doing here today is so important. Because we have to keep shouting so that someone hears. We have to keep shouting that the jobs tied to the oil and gas industry matter. That people who work in natural resource industries, be it farming or fishing or lumber or oil and gas or mining, matter. These are good jobs. They're important. We have too many people in this country saying if you work with your hands, you're not important. We need this pipeline to go through. We need pipelines to be built. Why? Because they allow good, hardworking people to earn a good living. That's all people want. To work hard, to pay their fair share, and to help build Canada. Thank you for what you're doing. God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you. Perhaps. All right. Dane Lloyd, pleased to meet you.
You as well, Ron.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sturgeon River Parkland, Alberta, just outside of Edmonton.
So these are your folks.
Absolutely. Who are my Albertans out there?
Here, take that mic away. Get them riled up.
Well, my name's Dane Lloyd, and I'm the Member of Parliament for Sturgeon River Parkland, just outside of Edmonton. And I was elected in a by-election in October 2017. I also serve as a lieutenant in the Canadian Forces, and I'm so proud to see all my fellow patriots here standing up for Canada today. Can I get a shout out for that? Now, you know, I grew up just outside of Edmonton, and my stepdad's a truck driver. And so I know what it's like when this government puts a carbon tax on families. You're raising the cost of gas on truck drivers, that's getting passed on to consumers. And these truck drivers are out of work right now because we can't get a pipeline built to get our energy to market. And it's a damn shame. And we need a prime minister who's going to stand up, who's going to get those pipelines built. And I know who that man is, and his name is Andrew Scheer. He's our Conservative leader, and he's going to get the job done. Now, my fellow Conservatives, we're in there in that House of Commons right now. It's your house. It's the people's house. And we're standing up for Alberta. We're standing up for Saskatchewan. We're standing up for all of Canada. Now, I always say, you know, my stepdad, you know, he's been a truck driver for a long time. And he always said, I don't think people in Ontario can understand what we're going through. And I always say to him, you know what? Ontario does understand. And we saw that with our Unite convoy going across the country, and who was there? You know, meeting them at every stop in Thunder Bay and in the Sioux and everywhere across this country. Ontario is standing with us. The whole country is standing with us. They're standing up for our pipelines. They're standing up against this carbon tax. And hell, we're going to come for Justin Trudeau in October, and we're going to change this country. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I come from Estevan with Jason LeBlanc. We helped kind of put the Estevan guys into this convoy here, and it was an emotional journey. I can't even explain it. When we came through Saskatchewan, we were seeing all the people on the sides of the roads and people waving flags, and we thought, you know, Manitoba was the same. Once we got to Ontario, we didn't know what to expect coming in here, and we were trying to unite everybody as one. And when we come through here and see the people lining the sides of the roads and the flags waving, and through the evenings there was fireworks shooting, and I thought to myself, you know, we come across this country with thousands of miles to try and join everybody in here. And I thought, you know, I never knew these people 2 weeks, 3 weeks before this. You know, I've talked to them on Facebook, social media, and all of a sudden now here we come across Canada 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers, and to see this come through like this and how well organized everything was, and the communications between the radios and the guy in the lead, and the emotional part of it, I still can't explain it till now. But we took all these people that nobody knew 2 weeks ago, and we came across this country united, and that was the whole deal of this, is we're trying to unite this country. This isn't the East against the West. This is about all of Canada. And we got to get all our resources to market, whether it's oil or gas or anything else. And that's why we're here today, and I'm glad everybody came to show their support. You guys got to give yourself a round of applause, because we can't do this without everybody else behind us. All we are a couple hundred people coming through here, but to unite everybody in this whole country as one, that's what this is all about. So that's all I really need to say, other than united we roll. 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 Thanks everybody for coming out. Love Canada. Patriot Day, February 19th. Thanks Mark Friesen. You're a good man. I want to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters that we made this trek with. Yeah, we're such a family now through this, I just can't believe it. So thank you all for coming. And we want our Canada back!
He's going to be speaking again tomorrow. We got him on the list tomorrow. He's a keeper. Has anybody been following Jay? Isn't that amazing when he speaks and we get live coverage? It's incredible. Jim, come on up here, Jim. Jim Aglinski from Yellowhead. Going to say a few words, and I love your, let's recognize these buttons here. When I saw him, I said, man, you got to be an important guy. He's got, I love oil and gas, so he's one of us. Here's Jim.
Welcome to everybody here today, and a special big welcome to our friends from Alberta, the people that drove across the country, our friends from Eastern Canada came to join them, and people that stopped along the way. We're here to see pipelines being built. We're here to see the oil and gas industry be recognized. This government is failing us. It's failing all of us. You know, we got to get rid of Bill C-48, 69, get rid of the carbon tax. Let's make it profitable for Canadians to be competitive with the other world. The other thing we need to really address in this country is why 40% of the oil and gas being used in this country is from third world countries, not from Western Canada, which produces the cleanest oil and gas anywhere in the world. Canada is one country. We're all together from the East Coast to the West Coast. We should be using products developed, produced in this country. We are an energy producing country. We should all work together to build our country, make it stronger. We cannot make it stronger by being divided. Let's stand together. We need pipelines. We need pipelines. Thank you all for coming today. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, man, we did 7,000 clicks to come and see you, man.
Will you hear me?
I'm here. Okay. Kevin? Come on up, Kevin. Kevin Sorensen from Battle River Crowfoot. It's your crowd. Go ahead, sir.
That would be in Alberta. That would be in the center of where the gas and oil industry was strong. That would be the riding where most farmers have an off-time job working in the oil patch. That would be the riding where everyone understands why we want to defeat Bill C-69. Everyone understands why we want to get rid of a carbon tax that does not help other than more revenue for a government. That's the riding that wants to say thank you for being here today. More and more in and around my constituency, I hear people say, how can we get involved? Is the government listening? Can they ever hear my voice? I can tell you today, they hear your voice. They hear your voice not just today, but through this whole trip that you have taken time away from your jobs, taken time away from your families to come out here because you know the importance of being here. My constituents want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you for helping us
have a louder voice because of it. We need pipelines. We need oil and gas. Thank you for the message that you bring. It is a pleasure to meet with you today, and I just wish you all the best and a safe trip when you do go back. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's hear it from a fellow Albertan. Arnold Pearson, MP from Peace River, Westlock. Anybody familiar with this gentleman? You're going to hear from him. Here you go.
Good day, everyone, and thank you all for giving up some of your time and coming to Ottawa. It's so good to have fellow Albertans here in Ottawa. I tell you, there's not enough Albertans in this place.
Peace River Pride.
Peace River Pride, right here.
Yes.
Where I come from, we do forestry, farming, and fracking. The 3 F's I like to call them. Since Justin Trudeau has become the Prime Minister, it's all effed up. Oh. Again, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for coming here. Are we even allowed to say that anymore, ladies and gentlemen? If you ask me, that political correctness is getting right on ahead.
If I really let loose, they take me out of here in cuffs.
So, once again, make lots of noise today. Be heard. We want to hear from you. I know that everybody back home has been texting me all day. Arnold, let's see some pictures from the pipelines or from the pipeline protest. We want to see the rally for resources guys here. Let's make some noise.
All right, come on up here, you. Come on up here. Just gonna say some words for our French friends. Correct?
No, French Quebec.
French Quebec, my favorite province. Not really, but we're all friends, correct?
Oh yeah, they are.
Because I run the truckers, and you Quebecers come into my province and take our work. Oh yeah, we'll sit down and have a beer and talk about that. There you go. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. First, I will present myself. My name is Alexander Caron. I'm 21 years old, and I'm the one of the admin in North Bay, in Ontario, but I'm also working with the Québécois, and they are here today. Québec, je veux vous entendre! Let's go, Québec! We are here today to show to the government that all the provinces are united together. On est ici aujourd'hui pour montrer au gouvernement qu'on est unis tous ensemble. Because all of us are tired of this government. We are all tired and this doesn't working for us. They are just corrupt and we need to change everything. Il est temps qu'on fasse un changement. Ils sont tous corrompus et nous sommes tannés. Il est temps qu'on change les choses et qu'on reprenne les choses en main. And the only way we can back the power is being a government who will represent the people. And the only way to have a government who will